Ba-da, ba-da, ba-da. Dun, dun. It's a raccoon with a talk show slinging culture facts you might not know. From the biggest flops to the greatest hits, this is Trash Can Tidbits.
How's it going, everybody? It's Beaton here, and I bring you another installment of Trash Can Tidbits. I hope you like what I got for you this week, so let's hop right into my trash can and see what I can deliver for you. Here we go with fact number 1. Did you know that, contrary to popular belief, horror icon Boris Karloff was not an intimidating figure as he was in the movies, but in fact, a sweet gentleman? Indeed, he was a total far cry from the Frankenstein monster. He even had an adorable lisp. It doesn't show on camera, but he did retain it off camera. As a matter of fact, when he was playing the movie in the first Frankenstein, he would often break character as soon as the director called cut in order to put his co-stars at ease. Fact 2. Did you know that Ghostbusters had a few casting changes before shooting even began? For example, the character of Peter Bankman was originally written for Dan Aykroyd's Blues Brothers co-star John Belushi, but he sadly died before shooting began and the role went to Bill Murray. Slimer the Ghost was made as a tribute to Belushi as a result. Similarly, Eddie Murphy was offered the role of Winston Zeddemore, and it actually would have been him who got slimed instead of Venkman. But he turned it down, which ultimately caused Winston to join the team about halfway through the movie. Murphy made Beverly Hills Cop instead, which launched him on the road to superstardom. And since we had Martin Luther King Day a while back, here's something neat for fact number 3. Did you know that Nichelle Nichols, who played Uhura on Star Trek, came very close to quitting the series? The person who ended up convincing her to stay was none other than Martin Luther King Jr., who is apparently a huge fan of the groundbreaking series, as it gave African Americans a voice that he could see would end up being so important. Moved by his pleas, Nichols ended up staying on, and the rest is history. Fact 4. Did you know that Star Wars The Force Awakens is the first J.J. Abrams film to not be scored by frequent collaborator Michael Giacchino? Giacchino, who notably composed the scores for such films as The Incredibles and Up, for which he won an Oscar, turned the gig down as he would rather hear the music of John Williams instead. He also similarly didn't do the score for Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker either, which was also directed by J.J. Abrams. Giacchino did end up making a cameo as a stormtrooper instead, and would end up writing the score for Rogue One, A Star Wars Story, which, ironically, was also not directed by J.J. Abrams. Fact 5. Did you know that actors Nathan Lane and Matthew Broderick have collaborated in 2 Broadway plays and in a few movies? The most obvious of these collaborations as being the voices of Timon and Simba, respectively, in The Lion King, but apparently met each other only once during the entire recording sessions, as voice acting is usually done separately. They both went on to star alongside each other in the Broadway musical The Producers and the revival of Neil Simon's play The Odd Couple. When The Producers was made into a movie, the casting went a step further. In a deleted scene, when Lane and Broderick's characters are in a bar celebrating their Broadway flop, the bartender is played by none other than Ernie Sabella, the voice of Pumbaa from The Lion King. In this one scene, Timon, Pumbaa, and Simba are briefly reunited. Fact 6. Did you know that Super Mario was largely based on the landlord for Nintendo of America's warehouse in the 1980s? Back when the original Donkey Kong was released, the main playable character didn't have a de facto name yet and was dubbed Jumpman. The large number of arcade machines were kept inside a warehouse in California by Nintendo of America. During one particular meeting, the building's landlord kept interrupting, demanding rent, and at that moment, the main character's name and motivations came to the team. The landlord's name was Mario Segali, and thus Jumpman was renamed to Mario. The coin collecting makes a lot of sense now, doesn't it? Fact 7. Did you know that a 7th grade class in a Fresno, California middle school automatically picked Francis Ford Coppola to direct a film adaptation of S.E. Hinton's novel The Outsiders? They apparently wrote a letter to Coppola asking him to consider making it. Although the choice was quite unusual, as at the time Coppola was known for making gritty movies like The Godfather and Apocalypse Now, he immediately read the book and decided to do so. As a matter of fact, the book's author was very heavily involved in the making of the film, and even makes a brief cameo in one scene as a nurse. The school's class is prominently thanked in the movie's credits. Fact 8. Did you know that the real Pocahontas was actually not born with that name? Something that all adaptations omit from the story is that history gave her real name as Matawaka. Pocahontas was actually her nickname, and it means little mischief in the Powhatan language. History remembers her as Pocahontas, though, and I'm sure it will stay that way. Just wanted to clear things up a bit. Fact 9. Did you know that actress Kate Capshaw has notably been in 2 movies where at some point a character gets his beating heart ripped out of his body while he's still alive? She played Willie Scott in Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, which was one of the movies that's responsible for the PG-13 rating, and she played Jane DeVries in Dreamscape, which was one of the first movies to have the PG-13 rating. She has since retired from acting in order to be with her husband, her Temple of Doom director, Steven Spielberg. Fact 10. Did you know that, as of about the late 1990s, the music that plays during the Warner Brothers logo is a song from a certain movie that Warner Brothers made famous in the 1940s? The song that plays is As Time Goes By, which was written in the 1930s for a Broadway musical called Everybody's Welcome. But it wasn't a chart topper at the time. It was later better put to use as the theme song for the 1942 classic Casablanca. The part of the song that plays during the logo reveal is the line that goes, "The fundamental things apply as time goes by." And there we go for this week. I hope you like what I presented, as if you wouldn't. Did you learn anything new or know a few of these already? Please comment below and let me know if there's anything you want me to tell about for a future video. As always, please don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and boop that bell to be notified for future videos. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.